Hey everyone, I have some good news in the ongoing fight against drug-resistant bacteria. A new study published in the journal Nature describes a class of compounds that they call optimized arylomycins. The researchers describe arylomycins as, quote, a class of natural products with weak activity and limited spectrum, unquote. But they also say that they have optimized these chemicals in such a way so as to create, quote, G0775, a molecule with potent, broad-spectrum activity against gram-negative bacteria. G0775 inhibits the essential bacterial type 1 signal peptidase, a new antibiotic target, through an unprecedented molecular mechanism, unquote. This is really cool. They've essentially modified a benign, naturally existing biochemical into something that they call G0775, which has a real Terminator vibe to it. This optimized arylomycin will then interfere with a signal enzyme in gram-negative bacteria called peptidase, which damages the bacteria and kills it. The researchers go on to say, quote, it circumvents existing antibiotic resistance mechanisms and retains activity against contemporary multi-drug-resistant gram-negative clinical isolates in vitro and in several in vivo infection models. These findings demonstrate that optimized arylomycin analogs, such as G0775, could translate into new therapies to address the growing threat of multi-drug-resistant gram-negative infections, unquote. Basically, this stuff works against gram-negative bacteria that are known to be resistant to multiple other drugs. They've been exposed to enough of our antibiotics to have developed a resistance to them. But this new drug, this optimized arylomycin, is a novel drug that they don't have resistance to. It kills the bacteria through a mechanism that they haven't really experienced yet. It can slip past their outer membrane, where it can reach the inner membrane, which is covered in the signal 1 peptidase. For the time being, this could be a valuable countermeasure against the gram-negative bacteria that we currently struggle to treat, because right now they're resistant to everything we have. So while this might seem like a great breakthrough, and I don't want to underplay it, it really is, there's a catch. This new antibiotic and its mechanism of action targets a single protein. This means that this is kind of like an exhaust port on the Death Star. You have this single tiny target, and while we can hit it and blow up the Death Star, it's also really easy to fix the problem or to protect that target. Where the Death Star could cover up the exhaust port with a simple sheet of armor plating about the size of a womp rat, the gram-negative bacteria just needs to reconfigure and mutate a single protein, and presumably just a single gene in order to nullify this new avenue for attack. Essentially, this new optimized arylomycin drug offers a very targeted attack that the bacteria currently have no defense from. But because it's so targeted, a bacterial strain can theoretically evolve resistance really quickly, because it's just a single weak point that needs to be altered or repaired. Unfortunately, this means that it's possible for this drug to induce resistance in its target bacteria before it even makes it out of clinical trials. However, the researchers say that this method has a, quote, lower vulnerability to spontaneous mutations, unquote. And this lower vulnerability to spontaneous mutations, I interpret that to mean that this gene in the bacteria that produces the signal type 1 peptidase, the gene is relatively conserved, probably because the protein structure is so precise and so sensitive to alteration that any mutation, any change at all, will destroy it. In this case, this hyper-targeted mechanism is not so much an easily repairable weak point. It's much more like a critically vulnerable weak point that just has to exist because of physiological constraints. And this optimized arylomycin is able to exploit that to kill the bacteria. To put it somewhat roughly, this means that this new medicine has gram-negative bacteria by the balls.